let's welcome my panel on stage. So one by one, Patrick, please come on stage. Artur, Ziemowit, and Błażej, please. Come, boys. So just so we get, labeling in the room, we got an entrepreneur, not his first merry-go-round, and playing with Starlink nonetheless. We got two bankers and we got an ombudsman, so a regulator. So let's kind of see what kind of perspectives we have on the table. So in today's world, and I'm going to start with the bankers because we are in the finance stage, and this is one of the hardest challenges. You get criticized for maybe not being an innovator. You get criticized for the number of technologies and asked about how you're innovating this. But here you are having the fiduciary responsibility to protect people, not only their money, but their custody and their data. Tell us a little bit about what is it like today?
First of all, hello to everybody. Happy to be here. Yeah, I would say at the beginning, in my opinion, we are in the middle of war. But the war, in opposite to a lot of things that were said in the other scenes, this is a silent war, where on the one part of the equation we have criminals, on the other part of the equation we have financial institutions and their customers, and in the middle we have AI, machine learning, and future, which Patrick will most likely say, which is related with the quantum computing, quantum computers, which is the future of 3, 4, 5 years. And here I would say there is always two sides of the equations, and I am putting it into the 3 dimensions. One dimension is to protect our customers. Mm-hmm. And here you have, usually you are saying transactions that should be authorized, so there is no leakage of the data. There is my data, my money in the financial sector are being safe. And here one part of the equation, I said criminals, they are using AI because here more and more advanced techniques are being used to steal your credentials. Yeah? And we are becoming less and less cautious as people because of several things. So what we can do? There is no other way to use also AI to search for any anomalies. And this is being done. This is not the future. It's actually already here. We are heavily using AI to find any anomaly, transactions that is unused, the access that is unused, and we are combining tons of data just to make the profile of the customer. And whenever there is something that is suspicious, we have to stop it. The sooner, the better. So that's one thing. Second, that I will not elaborate now, maybe in a moment.
So the first is consumer?
Yes. So the first is consumer. Second, we have the banking infrastructure, which has to be safe.
Critical infrastructure we're talking about.
Critical infrastructure. And with the recent days, we also are seeing that it's becoming more and more sophisticated. We all, or some of us, knows that there is famous DDoS attacks, which means that we have a lot of asks on the infrastructure just to stop it, yeah? And in the past it was quite simple. Now we have to let those attacks in and investigate what's going on. And here without AI we would not be possible to stop it, and cloud. And that's the second dimension. And third dimension is coding. A lot of codes are being done now in an automatic way, and that will be done even more automatic. Yes? So we have AI that is making codes, so we have to use also AI to test it, whether we do have any, we call it vulnerabilities. Yeah, so that are those 3 dimensions in which we are heavily investing nowadays. But there is also, and that's my last comment, we have also one part which is ahead of us. Majority of us maybe heard about quantum computing, but the future is here. It will come in 3, 5, 6 years, we don't know yet. But if that will happen, all the cryptographic that we know now will be gone. Mm-hmm. That's why we have to also, we are now heavily investing in the new algorithms that will be using not that computing power that we have now, but the future one that is being based on the quantum computing.
This brings a lot of topics up, so let's just try to unpack them. If we start with the consumer first, I'll put you in the hot seat. One of the fiduciary responsibilities is making sure the ecosystem is safe, and then we'll dive into how and how we bring awareness for that.
To be honest, the financial institutions are fighting against the crime and frauds for last 200 years.
Yep.
When the Wild West in the United States was done in the 19th century, there were gunslingers who were attacking the banks, and what financial institutions did? They started renting the bounty hunters. The next, let's read some novel and see how, for example, and what Tom Ripley did with Dickie Greenleaf signature. He was using the mechanism that the bank is in one country and he may forge the signature in another one. And at present, the issues are very similar to we had got in the past. Nowadays, of course, everybody is speaking about artificial intelligence. Everybody is knowing that the criminals are using it to steal our money. But also financial institutions had rapidly learned how to use that knowledge and how fight against the frauds. It's the most important factor for consumers is to receive some knowledge, although because ordinary people like us who have got their troubles with banks, with loan companies and unauthorized transaction, do not know how to act and what to do in crisis situations. So that I think that in the future, financial institutions also may use artificial intelligence to make the customers' educations, how to act, how to react, and where to provide their claims to make these things easier and better. Also, it's worth to say a few words about the legal issues. Nowadays, Poland is a part of European Union. There is a CCD2 directive which lets all the bank to give the money back till the end of the next day. The fraudulent incident is sent to the bank. And what's about that? Bank, if would like to fight against the crimes, is not needed. The bank have to use the modern technology and look forward on companies like Patrick's one, what they are doing and try to enforce them to share their knowledge. Because for consumers, it's a key, I think. Thank you.
We talked about it in our prep call, this awareness, this importance between the internal awareness. And before we get to the future, Patrick, and I will let you talk and tell these people, you know, what's out there in cybersecurity or what is in the bleeding edge of where we're getting to quantum computing. Most of us out here that understand cryptography know that a lot of things in math wasn't possible a few years ago. So we can get to that. But awareness, a lot of this brings a hell load of fear. We all know that, you know, if there's a pirate or a guy in a hoodie and a skeleton, we know it's a cybersecurity topic post usually, right? So we live in a world of fear, in a world where bankers are not inherently known for loving risk-taking, in a time of war. How have you been looking and changing your organization and bringing this awareness? I think you talked about in 3 levels, from the consumer to the critical infrastructure to how we do business elsewhere.
Lovely, thank you. So the cybersecurity, let's say, fight starts with various layers. And it starts, first of all, with the awareness on the management board. And a long time ago, we just moved out all the cyber guys from the basement and moved to the top of the agenda of the financial institutions, because we've got some values to preserve. One is the trust of the customers, one is the trust to the data and trust to the money. So we needed to start building the awareness on the management board side. Then you start with building the awareness on the employees side, just observing, watching out what is the current environment on the threat side, and you just bump up our own employees. What are the potential risks? Because we are arming up, we are building a cyber force in terms of technology, but the weakest point is always the human, and we need to invest in our own people. Likewise, we need to build up some awareness on the customer side, and then a lot of initiatives going on, which you can do or summarize in two ways. One is the sum of all the initiatives, like the Artur mentioned, what Santander Bank and my bank, Pekao, is doing, or other banks. The second layer is what the Association of Polish Banking is doing, so like the education of cyber, and this campaign which was in social media, in internet. The same holds true for our bank. We just publish a series of what are the typical scams, how you can prevent, what can you do, just to increase the awareness on the customer side. And of course, the awareness would not be enough. This is an important step, but you need to invest in technology. You need to invest in people. The vectors of the cyber attacks are increasing. We are living in more and more complex world, and we as banks, we are opening up to the clients. We want to provide more and more digital services to clients. We want to cooperate with some startups or fintech companies to provide value-added services, which is opening up additional vectors. So we need to invest, and we are heavily investing in difficult words like EDRs and DDoS, web application firewalls, and tons of this stuff. So we are like a soldier, heavy armed soldier with various weapons, and just you need to pull up something like in a game and just direct to the identified threat.
Oh my goodness, so you heard it here. Our banks have now turned into Fortnite, and they're ready, fully loaded with skins. The part that always amazes me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, is that somehow, even though we have all these boys with their toys, and the really rich ones are really worried about Mars instead of the Earth we live in, we ask people if they're robots. Has anybody here had to pick some stupid photos? And so somehow this just doesn't line up for me. When we think about what you just said, the consumer is expecting more from you in the financial services sector. He's expecting connectivity, he's expecting services, he's expecting convenience. I'm expecting it in every channel with a little degree of patience if you're slow. And somewhat, the identity industry has subjected us to being robots or asking us the exact same question every time we try to enter somewhere. So with all this tech, Patrick, what are you working on to make this different? How is this, all this quantum computing things, how is this going to get to the consumer or to organizations like the banks that are trying to protect us?
Yeah, I think they are, if we discuss about the financial service sector, before 2007, 2008, it was the most innovated sector for the cybersecurity. And after we have this incredible economic crisis in 2007, 2008, and this market, they changed completely in the compliance market to have a regulation and sector. And startup, like a startup of CYSEC and my previous startup ID Quantic, it was very difficult to sell innovation to bank again. And now with
some of us have been there.
Yeah, and now with this, they have a largest changement and disruption for AI. In the beginning, they need to have a lot of data and to run this algorithm in the cloud because you cannot deploy it in on-prem. Okay, and the business model is completely different. We need to have the capacity to use this algorithm. We need to accelerate it for the quantum computer side. And with the connection we can have right now with the Starlink, the Amazon One Kuiper, or maybe the future one from Europe, Harry Square, we have the connection everywhere. And in this case, we are completely changing in this world. And we started again in the financial sector to do some innovation, to integrate service. They have a company like IBM that started to develop cloud with a quantum computer in order to process some specific algorithm in order to be ready for the next step. And that's really the evolution of that we have, we need to have a quality and quantity of data around the world in the age to take this data with a connection with this new kind of LEO satellite to have a rapidly connection in the cloud, and after run this kind of algorithm in the cloud with quantum computer and use it for deliver some service in this financial service. That will be the future. On the other hand, we are in this kind of complexity we are now with this pressure from the geopolitical side, and that means that this kind of technology can be used by some block. They are not in phase with the other block. And in this case, you are this kind of block. They have a largest investment of for do quantum technology, to do the quantum computer, not only for deliver some service, but to hack some infrastructure. And when you have a quantum computer, you can hack some traditional key management system, because this kind of a traditional key management system is based in complexity, not from a specific algorithm. And that's the beginning of quantum cryptography, to use a photon for exchange key for do encryption, and there are now some acceleration from the post-quantum side to have some specific algorithm in order to quantum resilient signature, and you can use it to develop quantum post-quantum PKI. That's really the evolution, and they have already some integration of this kind of post-quantum algorithm. Yeah, the NIST one, they have a process inside of NIST in order to select the standard. They have 3 last finalists, and in the BS side, the German side, they have 1 finalist for that, and we will choose this year, next year, the algorithm to implement in this kind of infrastructure.
Huge change.
Yeah.
That you're seeing, the reality of it. For those people that don't know what NIST is, I hate acronyms in this stage, National Institute of Technology and Standards, and the same as the other acronym in Germany, which I will not pronounce in German. But this, okay, so this gives the bank a stamp to say somebody has looked at it, here's a standard. We all know, working in the financial industry, that from a standard to a regulation to something being operational, there's a leap. No pun intended, maybe that leap is quantum. What does it look like? And where's the reality? He's telling me that this is where we are in the future. I'm going to look at the rest of this panel and ask, where are we in the quantum computer reality?
We are not.
Aha. Okay. Mathematically possible, though.
No, it's I would say it's the future definitely that will come, for sure. Yeah, but here I think it's the matter of 4, 5, maybe 7 years, and indeed, the whole cryptographic world that we have now will change definitely. I will not go into the details telling about the algorithms, but what we are doing here. Yeah, this is just, we are living in a world when the most important question is the computing power. Computing power.
Or just computing
and
infrastructure.
Data, and which is connected with
Who
the
manufactures it? That's another panel.
That's a different panel, yeah?
Yep.
From that perspective, we are just talking about computing power, and quantum computer is just incredibly increasing that computing power. And I am always saying that the things that we are doing now will have impact in the 4 or 5 years starting from now. That's why we are heavily investing in this new algorithm that Patrick was actually mentioning. Yeah, it's just a change that we all will need to go and all will need to follow. One example, some of you might have, or some of us might have the digital signature, which is now uncrackable, let's call it that way, only 99.9%, yeah? With that computing power that we have. With quantum computer, it will be cracked within one minute or even faster. So it means that whenever it will come, all of us will need to change rapidly. But don't worry, I think that the word that I said, the silent word, is on the both side of the equation, and I would only add one thing, if I may. Still, the weakest part, we are talking about a lot of the technologies which are coming, but the weakest part are we, human. 90% of all the data leakage all the unauthorized transactions, it's not because that someone has cracked system. It's because that we human were uncautious, that we gave to someone our credentials because we were not, as I said, cautious. We are spending 6 hours a day in the mobile phones. Yeah, we are using social media heavily, and we are putting a lot of data about us there. So I'm just trying to say that we, as a human, we need to be cautious in the whole environment, because that technology or other technology will not give us 100% of the prevention.
If I may, just one comment. Right now, quantum computing is at the baby stage. We've got available some quantum computing simulation based on cloud, which is used by some of the banks for the real-time allocation or association assessment of the risk position, but it's not in practical terms right now used for the encryption, or thanks God, not for the decryption. It will come some days later. Right now, we are not at the stage that we need to follow this fire. This is the future fire, and we will arm up and be ready.
If I can add something, it's clear right now supercomputer is more powerful as a quantum computer, and right now before there are no use case for the quantum computer. Now we have the use case, the AI. The AI will acceleration to development of quantum computer because you need to have more and more power, and that will accelerate the adoption of this kind of technology. And in the case of the banking infrastructure, is that the quantum computer is a big fridge. Okay, you have inside of this computer is around that is a fridge, because you run around 1 Kelvin like that, and it will be not possible to use like a personal computer.
So none of us will have laptops.
Yeah, no, it will be real in the cloud, and everything will be in the cloud. You have a quantum cloud in order to process your data, and you need to trust this this quantum cloud, because it will be not something from your country, your company, and with the direction we have right now, it's not from Europe side too.
And then imagine quantum computing and AI.
Then we need to
I can imagine a lot of computing and quantum we're going to have to do, and I clearly needed maybe an hour for this panel and conversation. Guys, I do have to wrap up. And I would like to ask all of you to give these guys a welcome of applause and thank them for their insight. And I'm sure you can bug them later.